All right. So what we should do is we'll talk Star Wars first, and then we'll get into everything else after we intro.
So wait, say that one more time.
It's like we'll do Star Wars, right? So like we can get the spoilers out of the way, and people can skip ahead, and then we'll do the intro and go into sports and whatnot.
Okay.
All right, everybody. If you're listening now, skip ahead. We'll give ourselves like 10 minutes to talk about Star Wars. Rise of Skywalker. Saw it last night. There's going to be a lot of spoilers, so if you don't want us to spoil it for you, skip ahead like 10 minutes to our intro song, and then we'll go from there. So I'm glad, I'm not glad that Brandon's not here, but I'm glad that we don't have to defend it as hard, because he's going to be harsh on it. He's going to be
super critical. That's why I haven't texted him about it yet.
Yeah, because he's going to be super critical about it. He's going to be like, it's the worst one, blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of people are saying that it's not their favorite.
Yeah, no, definitely. Most of the reviews I read were pretty awful.
Yeah.
So
let's do your initial reaction right after you saw it, and then now after you digested for a good 24 hours.
Okay. So first initial reaction was kind of incomplete. I felt like my emotion was unsatisfied towards seeing a Star Wars movie. Whereas, every other time I've seen one, I was just kind of like, whoa, like either what's next or I can't believe, how incredible this was. It didn't seem like it was as satisfying as a lot of them were.
And now, 24 hours removed.
So I love all Star Wars movies. I have the nostalgia alone. I'm always going to love Star Wars movies. There was a lot that I liked. And I think the best way to describe it is I liked it. I didn't love it.
All right.
I mean, the best way to describe it.
Yeah. So for me, initial reaction right after it was over was just like, wow. Like, so much has just happened. I don't know if I'm mad, sad, happy, how I feel. It was just like, I just felt kind of confused in all reality. That's why after the movie, I was like, can we go to your house? Because I need to digest. I know Sarah didn't really pay attention to it, so she doesn't know Star Wars at all. So I'm not going to be able to talk all my thoughts out to her. She's going to be like, oh, I don't know. So now, after I've thought about it and everything happened, it honestly feels like I like what J.J. Abrams did with the movie. I thought it was entertaining. Like, the visual effects, everything were amazing. But I felt like he tried to please everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he did certain things where it was like, oh, everyone talked shit in the Last Jedi. When Leia showed her force powers, got to cover over that so I can show that it's like...
It seemed like an overcorrection.
Exactly.
It was a drastic overcorrection.
Yeah, and then it was like, they bring in Palpatine, bring Palpatine back, and they show, have him use his powers and how he can control people.
In the beginning, though.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird. It's you're not even gonna tease this a little bit, just boom, right away. That.
And it was almost and that's why my initial reaction was very confused, because it's right off the bat, Kylo Ren somehow finds the navigation stone or whatever it's called. Immediately finds it. No build up to it or how he's trying to find it or where he's going. Just that's a scene. He's just got it. Here I go. I'm flying now. And then ends up at whatever planet. I forget the name of the planet already.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was a weird name. But anyway, so it arrives right there, and I was just like, okay, that was really quick that we're getting into this. So I felt like he showed Palpatine to please, the older Star Wars fans to be like, hey, look, callback kind of thing. Yeah. And then the action during it was just kind of for the people that were, wanted the visual effect. Yeah. And then they had to bring in cute characters to please the run of the mill fans. So it was just kind of, I don't know. It was a lot. Too much happened at once. We talked about it. We wish that this could have been a 5-movie span.
It felt like it needed to be.
Yeah.
I feel like they had a lot of good points in this movie that would have just been better over a longer period of time. I mean, this is only 6 years? Mm-hmm. From start to finish, it was 6 years. And it doesn't feel like they really got a groove ever. Mm-hmm. It felt like they were kind of tinkering with ideas And then the whole like Rey's parents thing,
Yeah.
you know, figuring out that lineage just didn't have that like aha moment. Like to me, I was like surprised. I was like, whoa. But I remember telling Shaylee like several years ago, I was like, she's gonna be a Palpatine.
Mhm.
And so like we're sitting there in the movie, and she was like, oh my god, you predicted that. And I was like, I totally forgot that I said that. Like thankfully, but
Yeah.
like it was one of those where like it felt too like predictable. Like everything that was going on. Like I was sitting there with Shaylee, and I was like, when Rey dies at the end, and Kylo brings her back, I was like, it's either gonna go one of two ways. Like the Rise of Skywalker, like Rey's gonna die, and Ben Solo's gonna be like the new
The Skywalker. Yeah.
Or he's gonna do that whole like major like or the Master Sifo-Dyas thing and bring people back from the dead, like Anakin was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, he brings her back from the dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like it just felt like they were trying to like fix things that were never talked about.
Yeah.
And I think this is an issue when you have a project going on for too long. There's always going to be plot holes, like, you know, whether it's Marvel with the whole why didn't Steve Rogers going back in time like ruin like the present history or the present like that was happening.
Yeah.
But sometimes plot holes are a necessity, and I just felt like this entire movie was constantly trying to fill plot holes.
And it just seemed like how you said, just like an overcorrection or rushed and all this other stuff. It was just kind of like mismanaged in the sense of like you have J.J. Abrams do the first one, then you have Brain Johnson do the second one, and then back to J.J. Abrams again. It was like, why not just let him tell his story through the 3 movies?
It should have been.
Yeah.
And honestly, this movie, like there was one part that really ticked me off, and it was that in the second movie, The Last Jedi, at the end when they're trying to like fight over Luke's lightsaber, that thing explodes.
Yeah.
And it causes like half the ship to blow up. And that lightsaber ended up back at the third movie. So I'm like,
yeah,
what happened here? Like, or the fact that like they just said, oh, like Rey, your parents were nobodies, they were scavengers, blah blah blah, they sold you for nothing. And then it was like, oh yeah, they were scavengers, but they sold you to protect you. Like you were clearly trying to like right a wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So for like to give Brandon some credit, I've always said like you can't rate movies based off of their individual when they're a part of a trilogy. So I just felt like after the first one was one of my favorite movies. The Force Awakens, I felt like it was done phenomenally. After that, I just feel like they lost their groove and they tried to just fit too much of a narrative into a very small window. And the movie was only like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like considering that like they filled in so much,
they so many.
Probably could have gone for about 3 hours
easily.
Yeah,
and I would have been okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, like Marvel just did that. You know what I mean? Like they just had a freaking like almost 3-hour movie or whatever it was. But yeah, and then I don't know. It was just everything was just happened too fast, and you didn't have time to process when one thing happened before the next thing happened. So it was just constantly just, oh shit, I can't believe Chewie just died. And then, like, 2 minutes later, they're like, "Oh no, he's alive!"
Yeah.
Like I sense him on the ship, and you're like, you couldn't let that play out longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could have had a way better reunion than
Yeah.
Rey just being like, "Hold on, he's here."
Yeah.
You know, it's like
the whole thing was super rushed, but the storyline was fine. The whole storyline was fine. I did think that it was a little weird that it's like you're gonna introduce a new villain who's an old villain. Like this, you still have to do character development. It's like, how is he here? Where's he been?
Yeah.
You know, like why is like this just like turning up now?
And then when in the beginning, when Kylo finds where Palpatine is, he's like going through that corridor, and then there's that like jar of Snoke's, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and then it was like the beginning too, when they're like the worst has been predicted, like Palpatine has been like running everything, and Leia's like, I knew it. It's like, then why the fuck didn't you say anything? Why wouldn't you
say like
that's not like
Palpatine.
That's not like saying like, oh Rey, like Palpatine's your dad, like, or your grandpa. It's like that is an understanding like why you wouldn't want to tell her that, but to not tell like all your troops like, oh, there's a possibility that Palpatine's still out there,
exactly,
like using everybody like puppets.
And that was the other part that like one of the things that happened in the movie that really really upset me was when like they were on that island where the Death Star was washed up or crashed or whatever, and Kylo is about to strike Rey down, and Leia does like that whatever force connection thing and distracts him, and then she does. It's like, wait, hold on. So you're saying, or like Rey stabs him, like kills him basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on. So you're saying that with Leia's last breath, she wants to
kill her son,
like stab her son in the back, and be like, I didn't have your side the whole time. Like, you're a piece of shit. I'm gonna use you.
I feel like that whole narrative probably could have been done over a little bit differently. But it's like, oh, we have to show that Rey has extreme force powers and can heal people. It's like, and then this whole like changing the force into like a fix-all for everything was like, you're telling me that Yoda, who was the master Jedi for like what, like hundreds and thousands of years, didn't have the power to like heal people? Or he just chose not to?
Yeah. Like, he just wanted to, he didn't have the same feeling that they had.
And like my kind of understanding is that, like, from what I believe from watching all these movies, is that the only reason that Rey was able to do that is because she was like technically like from the dark side. Yeah. So like she was a mesh of, both extreme powers. But like you could have explained that. Like that's a fan theory at that point. Like I'm assuming, but people who are just watching these movies aren't making those same assumptions.
No, and I just and then like they skip right over the fact that all of a sudden she can use Force lightning, and she does it once, and that's it. Yeah. And it's like, hold on, you didn't train for this at all. All of a sudden that's just your anger that you used. Like, no, you have to learn these different things. I don't know. It was just. I need to see it again so I can get a good overview of it, and it's just upsetting that they're choosing to end it like this in my eyes.
I totally agree. I think that like just going in like afterwards and like looking at some of the like ratings, I think Rotten Tomatoes has it at 57%.
Yikes.
6.9 on IMDb, and Metacritic is 53%.
Those are not good ratings.
No, they're not good ratings at all.
And that's, it'll be interesting, though, to see where they take the series going forward.
Oh, yeah.
But, definitely upset at some things, enjoyed other parts of it, but overall it just went way too fast for me.
No, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get into the real show. Okay, so does Finn all of a sudden have Force?
Oh, is he like
powers?
Sensitive? I know. Like I can feel it.
Yeah.
He got all these feelings the whole time. It's like, shut up, Finn.
Yeah, and then he was running through like whatever that Star Destroyer was, and he just stops all of a sudden and like gets a sense that Leia died, or right?
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Didn't he like freeze too when Leia died? And he was just like, It's like, how can you feel that too?
Well, the other part that ticked me off was like at the end when she's like at the home of
the Skywalkers, or
the
uncle, I forget what his name was, on Tatooine.
Yeah, Uncle Lars and
there you
Aunt
go.
May.
There you go.
And he at the end it was like Luke and Leia. They're like their little blue Force ghosts. I'm like, man, Leia didn't live there.
Yeah.
What's she doing on Tatooine?
Should have never been. Should know.
I don't know what that's about. That's Luke's home.
Yeah, that was annoying too.
Yeah, that kind of drove me nuts. I was like, and then she like buried their lightsabers there, and I was like,
and then it hatched a new one.
Is that what it was? I thought she just had that one.
No, she like shocked, looked on the ground, and picked it up, and like, oh, this was made for me. It's like,
yeah, I definitely need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, like it was just weird. And it bugs me that the only reason I say it is he Force sensitive is because Rey also keeps handing him the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like, quit giving him a lightsaber.
Just because he whipped it around a couple times doesn't mean he's a Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just going to hand those weapons to people.
Shouldn't there be some kind of, like, power behind that? Like, the lightsaber just shuts down if
Han
you don't...
did it. He used it on...
But also, people say that he was Force sensitive with the whole,
Yeah.
Just like the way he would fly, and then the whole meeting with Guido or whatever, and...
I've actually never divulged into those who shot first, like
They're pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to look into
it's
some
pretty
of them.
interesting. All right, now we're going back.
Okay.
We're starting for real.
All right.
Boys, let's get to it.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Lights, camera, action.
What's up, everybody? We are the Three Amigos and a podcast. We're down one amigo today. Brandon is doing something. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know.
He just said he had plans today.
So
whatever that means.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon. But yeah, so if you listened to our intro or if you skipped over it, we went to the Star Wars premiere last night. Watched The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird title in itself. For like the last one.
I feel like the last two titles too were like a little odd.
Mm-hmm. Like The Force Awakens is a good title.
I like
and
that
then
one.
The Last Jedi is an interesting one.
Yeah. And then this one was just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
No, not even in the slightest bit.
Yeah. We're gonna have to take a timeout real quick because I'm gonna cut this part back into our original intro. So we'll be right back. But
okay.
All right, we're back. Anyways, Rise of Skywalker, pretty good, all that kind of stuff. Overall, though, how was your week? How was your last weekend?
I worked every day this past week, so today's been my first day off in like 6, and I've been tired.
Yeah.
So tired. Just getting done with finals last week and then finishing up this work week. I'm definitely ready for a 3-day weekend. It's going to be nice.
It's our 3-day weekend.
Yes. Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. We got your party tomorrow.
Yeah, we're seeing each other Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It'll be good. And I'm sure we'll talk all day Sunday because it's fantasy football playoffs.
You got the finals coming up.
Got the finals going up against Enrique.
Are you
S.A.
nervous?
Sneaky. I'm so nervous. Because the one time it happened to me last year too. It happened to me last year when I had Todd Gurley. As soon as I get into the playoffs, my breadwinner takes a shit. They get hurt. They're sitting out. This year it's Dalvin Cook, and it's just.
And it's ironic too that like all year you're like I want Mattinson because like I need to handcuff him, and I was telling you I was like, no, he's doing good, like he's staying healthy, and then last 2 weeks he like gets hurt, and so does Mattinson.
Yeah. I know. I was just like, gosh, man, I can't freaking find it.
But you got the handcuff, so that's good.
I got both handcuffs now. I picked up Mattinson and Boone, so we'll see. But I still don't know who to play. I don't know if I trust Boone. I know Green Bay's run defense has been atrocious, and Boone got 2 rushing touchdowns last week. So, I mean, he's no scrub. It's just...
It's a tough call. McLaren, I feel like, has a higher upside for sure.
He does, and they're playing the Giants. So, I mean... That's a terrible secondary.
Well, and also both teams are playing for basically nothing. So, like,
it's just more or less
on them, like just trying to run plays the entire game versus like, oh, well, now we've got like a lead, so we're gonna ease up on them a little bit.
But then also, it's like, are they playing for a draft pick or are they playing for a record?
Yeah,
you know, it's like which way are they taking it?
Well, I think everybody's basically just playing second fiddle to the Bengals. Bengals are on
a historic year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that'll be interesting. Speaking of teams that are doing god awful, we had the Heisman presentation last week where Joe Burrow took home Heisman, gave a phenomenal speech.
Dude, he took away like 5 awards.
Yeah, he did. The Maxwell.
It was like the best QB in the country.
Walter Camp, I think, is
best person or whatever, like leadership, all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not bad for a transfer student.
Exactly.
They're 3 out of the 4
finalists
were all transfers. Just crazy to me. It just shows how talented these quarterbacks are getting.
Mm-hmm. And it shows that the NCAA needs to change their transfer rules.
Well, they did it like this way to help players like this. So I kind of like that these guys are getting an opportunity to play. But I still think they need to ease up on it more because, I mean, it took even Fields a while to get petitioned to be allowed to play this year because he didn't really play in his freshman season. But I think that, when these players are given an opportunity to, like, make their schools millions of dollars, like, and they want to transfer. I feel like there's too many rules against them. It's like they can't transfer within a division. So like if you're playing for LSU, you can't transfer to Alabama. I think that you should be able to transfer to any freaking school that you want to at that point.
Yeah.
But
anyways, you were saying a team.
Well, so I've been listening to a lot of this like draft stuff and how Joe Burrow's for sure going number 1 to the Bengals, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I'm an NFL GM, I'm never passing up on Chase Young. I don't care who is there.
No.
Like they were talking about him. I can't remember Todd McShay. And he was saying, like, I said a lot of great things about the Bosa brothers coming out of Ohio State, but Chase Young's better than both of them. Yeah. And he's like, he's faster than him, he's stronger than him, he's bigger than him, and he has the same, like, hand coordination.
Mentality and,
skill
set.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who ends up getting drafted first overall. Like I said, I'm not passing on Chase Young. They're once-in-a-lifetime type player.
Yeah, I totally agreed. I mean, Andy Dalton has been in the league for a while, but also you have to think about how many playoff runs he's taken you to.
Yeah.
And he's not god-awful.
And for me, I'm tired of NFL teams drafting the quarterback first without putting themselves in a position to win. I mean, look at the Buffalo Bills, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen, like, he didn't play well really this year or last year, but they're still a playoff team now. Mm-hmm. And he's done exactly what he's been told to do. And they drafted a team around him, surrounded him with good players, and then the Bills finally pulled the trigger on a quarterback. So, I mean, I'm not saying follow the Bills, entire game plan, but as far as, where the Bengals are from an organizational standpoint, it's like getting a quarterback is not going to help you win any faster.
It's not going to change.
And I don't value any of the quarterbacks in this draft as high as I have with other drafts. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa is a good quarterback, but I mean, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray just went number 1 overall the last couple of years, and if you plug them into the Bengals defense, they're not winning any freaking games either. So there's no Andrew Lucks.
Yeah, there's no Andrew Lucks, but even still with the Colts, they did the same thing that you're saying the Bills did now, where they built a team around him first.
Yeah.
Or even, you know what I mean? They had the team established before Andrew Luck, and then they've drafted to secure him
even
going
a player
forward.
like Jalen Hurts, though, like he's a player that can come into a system similar to what Mayfield and Murray have done, and I would have the confidence that he could come into an NFL stadium and put up good numbers.
Yeah.
And you can draft him in the second round.
And, I mean, as long as you give him the confidence to stay in the pocket, because he's, you know what I mean? He's a fourth-year senior, knows that he can't just rely on his legs like he did when he was at Alabama to begin with. So,
well, and it's like he's showed that he can play in 2 different style offenses.
Mm-hmm.
He's played in Alabama, he's played for Oklahoma, and he's won at both places. So that's definitely a good resume.
Definitely. I'm excited for college football to kind of get back. It's next week, so
I know it's a long wait, man.
It's been a long wait, but it'll still be good.
Oh, for sure.
I think we still want to see LSU and Ohio State.
Yeah, for sure.
In the playoffs. So
I mean, even the Clemson versus LSU would be good. Just keep Oklahoma out of that damn game.
Well, I don't think LSU's gonna fumble to them.
I would sure as hell hope not.
Yeah. But yeah, we have week 16 football coming up, which is just crazy to say. It feel like the NFL just flew by this year.
It really did. It was like the first few weeks went by slow, and then it's like, oh, hey, we're at week 16.
Yeah, and then it's like, wait, what happened? I want more football.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch anything else.
I know, right? I'm like, I keep Googling like Padres. I'm like, nothing. All right, back to football.
Especially because baseball got started off, like, it was such a hot stove for the beginning.
Meetings,
after the winter meetings. And I don't know, I thought AJ Preller was going to do a lot more than what he's just kind of just fell silent.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know. I just like when, even if it's not a move that's like beneficial, I just like when moves are being made when other big names are going. It's just like kind of puts the name of your organization out there to be like, oh, that's a team I could go to.
And it's nice when there's things going on all sports platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like when things are slow in basketball and they're slow in hockey and like years winding down for football. So it's like basically teams fighting for, either draft position or playoff seeding. You're like, okay, what's going to keep me interested? So you're like, all right, where's baseball? Like, oh, No news? Okay.
You guys are crickets again? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, last week we covered week 15. Just a couple of recaps. We had the Texans and the Titans matchup.
Yeah, you predicted that one.
Yeah, which you guys were thinking was going to be Titans.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Don't they play each other again week 17?
Yeah,
so it's like almost back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
And it was a good game. I think it kind of came down to the wire there, but I don't know. Bill O'Brien for once did the right thing.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a first.
Yeah. But then we had the Rams and the Cowboys, with the Cowboys just completely destroying
the
Rams in that game.
Because the Cowboys on paper are a great football team, and they should be doing this to teams week in and week out.
Consistent basis.
And for them to just decide to show up this week, and the worst thing that can happen to the Dallas Cowboys right now is for them to get hot and win a Super Bowl and have to have Jason Garrett come back next year. I mean, obviously it's not the worst thing, but like Jason Garrett's got to go.
Yeah,
like
he's not the answer.
Yeah, and like, oh, well, we beat the crap out of the Rams, and it's like,
yeah, but the Rams are a fake team.
Yeah,
they should be good, but they're not.
Exactly,
they're not. Then we had the Bills and the Steelers. You called this one. You had the Bills.
I think I picked the Steelers.
Oh, was it Brandon that had the Bills?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
that or Alex. I can't remember. I think Alex might have said the Bills.
He might have. Yeah, he might have.
Yeah, this surprised me. Obviously, Hodges throwing 4 interceptions didn't help anything.
This was his first loss as a starter?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, obviously, this was only his 4th game or whatever, but still, to be 3-0.
Sure. And, I mean, the Steelers, their defense played well. They just could not get anything going offensively. They've had a lot of injuries this year.
Yeah.
And it's showing up.
Definitely it's showing up. And, I mean, they're a young defense, and that shows up, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think they gave up 17 points, so it wasn't like they got their ass kicked on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, 17 points, and, I mean, they had 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
They had a fumble and an interception, so...
Yeah, it sucks when your offense keeps handing the ball back to them.
Yeah. All right, so, sorry, tangent. The Monday night game, the Colts and the Saints game. So, obviously, the Saints just have that game in the bag the whole way. In the second quarter, it was the Saints drive down, get a touchdown. The Colts 4 and out, and they have to come back on. The defense has to come back on the field, and Booger goes, "Well, this is what happens when a team just the offense doesn't get going. You turn the ball over, defense is back out there. Yes, that's how football works. Thank you for explaining to me that
he's the worst.
He's the worst." Then you had the 49ers losing to the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons are the most confusing team this season.
It's ridiculous. Speaking of the Cowboys, talk about the Falcons are in the same boat. It's your team is good, and this normally wouldn't be a shocking victory, but the fact that you just don't know which Falcons team is going to show up week in, week out.
The fact that you were a 4-9 team coming into this game.
They came back and won this game too, I believe. They had that, what was it? Yeah, touchdown 2 seconds left.
Yeah,
in the
Julio
game.
Jones catching.
Yeah.
That was his first touchdown in 4 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It might have even been longer. I remember Brandon was saying that he hadn't cut a touchdown in a long time.
Yeah, and it was how are you not getting him the ball? That's
They got a lot of weapons now, though. Calvin Ridley, he's been crushing it.
But even though it's you get rid of Sanu, this should open up targets for Julio.
Yeah.
And
they're struggling mightily.
Mm-hmm.
Mightily.
I also think it's funny that the 49ers have only lost to birds. Which is
the Seahawks, the Falcons,
and what's another bird team? They didn't lose to the Eagles, did they?
No, they didn't lose.
They lose to the. Now I gotta look it up.
Ravens.
There you go, the Ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah,
that's super funny.
So I mean, as long as they don't have to play, as long as the Eagles don't make it into the playoffs, right?
Well, they have to play the Seahawks one more time, so
they should. I don't know. That's a tough game, but I think the Seahawks.
That was a great matchup. It's gonna be a wonderful Week 17 game, especially if both those teams end up winning this week. You're playing.
You could swap 1 and 5 right there
mm-hmm.
after, which is so
insane.
sad.
Yeah, I know it's It really ticks me off. Like, I get it. I think that the football playoff format's probably one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
But it, like when you get into these situations where like a number 5 seed that has like the second best record in football, you're like, really?
I was listening to something and they were saying how they're like, I hate that each divisional winner gets into the playoffs. I was like, that's how it should be. Like, if you're the best in your division, you should get a playoff spot. Like,
teams that are 7-9 have made it into the playoffs before. I mean, it's
the freaking Giants won Super Bowl off an 8-8 season.
Yeah,
you know, like anything can happen. Just,
dude, that shit's so funny to me every time because the Patriots were 60-0.
Yeah. Which is so sad.
Like, that is ultimately one of the biggest bummers in sports history.
Yeah. Definitely. Yes.
I mean, like, they've won plenty, so it's not the end of the world for them. But like the fact they could have had one more.
Well, I mean, what was it? This year is their 11th straight AFC East title, like 11 straight seasons, just unbelievable. But yeah, then last game of Week 15 we'll talk about is the Browns losing. They're really skid marking out, losing to the Cardinals.
Yeah, man. There's no excuse. There's literally no excuse to lose to a team like the Cardinals.
The only fact is that Freddie Kitchens is an idiot.
Yeah, no.
That's the only thing you can blame it on.
What did he say after the game, too? Like, he was like, well, I don't care about job security. Like,
yeah, he's like, I don't care. He goes, I don't care about job security. The week starts on Monday. I'm going to show up on Monday, and we'll prepare for next Sunday on Monday. And it's like, quit saying Monday.
I think that you meant to say, obviously, job security is important to me. Like, you don't care about your job?
I mean, you don't have a who's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys?
Oh, Jerry Jones.
You don't have a Jerry Jones being like, hey, he's going to coach somewhere in the NFL next year. You know what I mean? With Jason Garrett, it's like, he's not going to coach for us, but he's going to coach somewhere. You don't have that. You might not be.
No, you're absolutely right.
You know, it's like, and it sucks because there has been a lot of turnover there in the head coaching position, but you got to figure it out because you got talent at quarterback, wide receivers, running back, and you can't get your offense going.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. There's a lot of like head coaching jobs where, like, I mean, good head coaching jobs that are going to be opening up. Like the Falcons, I can't imagine Dan Quinn coming back next year.
But it's like
Adam Gase with the Jets. Like there's
like, but that's the thing, right? It's like because Jason Garrett shouldn't have a job, Dan Quinn shouldn't have a job, but these are two teams that are like winning on the back end and somehow are going to save their job.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Which it doesn't make it. If Ron Rivera loses his job, you guys deserve to
for
be
sure.
out.
Ron Rivera, I feel like he's not going to be jobless for very long.
He shouldn't be.
I mean, like,
I'm surprised he hasn't pulled a Hugh Jackson where he's like, I'm an assistant head coach somewhere,
yeah,
you know,
right?
in the same season.
No, like honestly, and like I feel like if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, as soon as our season is over with, like
that should be the one.
Like at the end of the day, it's like you kind of hope that the Eagles win so the Cowboys can just start their head coach search like right when the season's over.
Yeah, because
if they got to get through like the playoffs when other teams have already let their coaches go,
that's
not good.
Not good. Sorry, I lied. I did say that was the last game, but I gotta ask you about this Chargers Vikings game. I mean, seven turnovers. That's got to be some kind of record. Like,
honestly, man, the Chargers have proven once again that they just don't know how to win games. And I know it sounds like it's so simple, but at the end of the day, you know, you can blame Phillip Rivers, you can blame Anthony Lynn, you can blame whoever the hell you want to, but you lost by like 29 points and you turned the ball over 7 times. There's something like internally wrong with that organization.
Yeah.
And that's a home game, technically a home game, but it's ridiculous. And I'm just tired of people sitting there like, oh, well, like, you know, this is probably Phillip Rivers' last season now because, like, he's going to go out after this. And, yes, like, I've been saying it all year long that, like, the breed of Phillip Rivers quarterback is dying. Mm-hmm. And they need to figure out how to move on from that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, this team is, like, a year removed from having, like, tied for the best record in football. And they have talent. So,
that's the thing. It's like, how is there that much of a drop off?
Well, and like we were just saying before the podcast started, they have a positive point differential. Mm-hmm. So when they're winning games by a lot of points. It's just
and when they're losing games, they're losing close games.
Yeah.
Obviously not this
past one, but there's definitely some stuff that's got to change. They got to lock up some key players, and they got a lot of players that are going to hit free agency. We got Melvin Gordon and Phillip Rivers, who are both on expiring contracts. I don't see Melvin Gordon coming back. He has not shown value to this team since coming back from his holdout, and
he hasn't done anything spectacular that Austin Eckler wasn't.
And if I'm him, I'm firing my agent. There's no way that you don't take that contract they offered you at the beginning of the year, because I don't think you're going to get anything better from anyone else after this season.
Especially now.
It was a good offer, too.
Yeah.
It was a really good offer.
I get it. Maybe the years weren't there or whatever, but even
when he wanted to get paid Todd Gurley money, it's like if you want to get paid Todd Gurley money and Le'Veon Bell money, you need to show out.
You need to beat them.
Le'Veon Bell, his team might not win, but that dude is like getting 100 scrimmage yards every single game.
Yeah.
And he's not turning the ball over. And you can't afford to fumble the ball, especially when you're 4 years in, to a starting running back position in the NFL. Like, you had 2 key fumbles in the red zone. Like, unacceptable.
And he's fumbled a lot in the red zone.
Yeah.
They lost a game because he fumbled in the red zone early in the season. So.
And the other part of that, too, is, they got players like Mike Williams. And I know Brandon got pissed off all year because he hasn't scored any touchdowns. But the dude sat a game. He's already over 900 yards receiving this year. Coming back off a year where he had 11 touchdowns, they need to lock that dude up. You got to lock Joey Bosa up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pieces that they got to solidify. And, I mean, if I'm the Chargers, I'm probably thinking that it's not a great investment to re-sign Phillip Rivers. Just from a pure business standpoint, unless he comes back on a team-friendly contract and you can get somebody else in to learn from him.
Yeah, exactly. If you draft a young quarterback that he can mentor.
Yeah, but paying this dude $20 million for a couple years is not going to be beneficial to the success that you need to have in LA. I mean, California football, John Gruden was saying earlier this week, it's in total limbo.
Mm-hmm.
49ers just moved. Obviously, they're still in San Francisco, but they're in a completely different part of San Francisco.
Yeah.
The Raiders are leaving California, going to LA. The Rams just came. The Chargers moved from San Diego to LA. There's no fan base there.
Yeah. There's no real loyalty.
No. So it's a market that you have to succeed in. And if you're not putting together a winning record, you're going to continue to have 90% of the other fans show up at your games.
Mm-hmm.
It's destination.
It's a great destination, especially next year when the Rams stadium is finished and the Chargers are going to play there. It's tons of people from out of town or wherever are going to want to travel to
new
sunny
stadium.
California to go
brand
watch
new state of the art.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So they got a lot of work to do this offseason, and it's one of those years where last year, obviously, they finished the year divisional round of the playoffs. So it's the offseason, you're kind of whatever. They're going to get a lower end draft pick, and they're probably going to re-sign some players. I don't imagine that they're going to go sign a bunch of huge free agents.
Yeah.
So this year it's you're in a limbo here. You have a lot of big decisions that need to get made. Austin Eckler is a restricted free agent. What are you going to do with him?
Mm-hmm.
You got to find some other weapons besides Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You need to find somebody else that can, fill in for those guys when they're getting covered.
Yeah.
And then you need to find somebody that can give them the ball.
Yeah, and you got to figure out what you're going to do on your defense.
Yeah. They haven't had good linebackers for the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
And
the ones they do bring in, they're tiny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Obviously they're football players, so they're decent sized guys.
I think it's something the average size of linebacker that the Chargers have drafted is 5'10", 210 pounds. That's a running back
or a DB.
Yeah,
that's
not a linebacker.
No.
So yeah, there's a lot of holes that they need to start filling. But as far as a losing record team going into the off season, I feel like they're in a good position, especially considering the fact that the Chiefs they're not getting better.
No.
And
they're not getting worse. No. They're still a powerhouse of a football team.
Yeah. I feel like they've definitely plateaued since last year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they got off to that insanely hot start, and Patrick Mahomes is going to continue to be an MVP level talent.
Yeah.
But you got to fight off teams like the Raiders and the Broncos who aren't going away either. So it's one of the most competitive divisions in football, and it might not look like it on paper, but they're always pretty balanced.
Yeah. Sorry, I lied about the last notes of Week 15. you mentioned it. Raiders play their last game at the Coliseum, going to Vegas next year. And then we have to give Drew Brees some love here. 541 career touchdowns, most in NFL history. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah.
Like beating Peyton's record. But
yeah, definitely. Drew Brees is one of the most like selfless players in history. Reggie Bush posted a video of him 40 minutes after the practice was over, and he was still out there working on his game, working on his craft. I love Drew Brees. And
I do too.
I think a lot of like non-football fans of the Chargers like hate that we got rid of him, and I think that the best thing that happened to Drew Brees was to play for the Saints and
to play with Sean Payton,
and
or for him.
That relationship and his guidance has helped solidify Drew Brees as probably one of the top 5 quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't going to get that with the Chargers. He wasn't going to get that with the Dolphins before that whole deal went through. And this Drew Brees is one of a kind, and he got that because he was playing in Louisiana.
Yeah, I agree. But on to Week 16, Fantasy Football Championships, as we mentioned earlier. Extremely nervous, hoping my team pulls through Week 16. Got some good matchups. But we both have good matchups, It's like just watching how they like green, yellow, red. We all got green, yellow matchups, so it'll be a good one.
Hoping for a big week from the Three Amigos podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Got some interesting matchups, though. Bills and Patriots. This is fascinating to me because the Bills lost this game earlier in the year. The Bills have David Singletary.
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 Yeah. I don't have him on my team anymore, but
not important.
But
they've definitely learned how to move the ball at least enough to win games.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots defense looked god awful. I mean, I got a little nervous there last week when they were playing the Bengals because they let off like 2 first half touchdowns.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
And so the defense has been like their saving grace all season. Like that offense looks like it doesn't know what it's gonna do. Like you can't put pieces,
man.
Yeah, they can't put pieces together. But the defense is starting to get tired. And as much as we say like certain things on offense get picked up very quickly now in the NFL, certain defenses are getting keyed very easily. People are finding holes. They're learning how to move the ball on this defense.
It's kind of funny because I feel like, with the Patriots, some of their losses that they've had, people are kind of doing what the Patriots offense of old was doing, and they're just kind of, for lack of a better term, dunking on the Patriots defense all the way down the field. You saw it with their loss to Kansas City, and you saw it again in their loss to the Texans. Obviously, there was a couple big plays thrown in there as well, but it seems like people are just all about the ball control, and they're like, we got to keep this defense on the field as long as possible. And if we force the Patriots to make big plays on offense, they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And it seems a little delayed. Like, teams should have caught on to this a lot sooner.
But they were also playing to losing teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they think they've only played.
Schedule was terrible. I think their first.
But it's like they've only played 4 teams over 500, and they've lost to 2 of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they started off Steelers, Dolphins, Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had that close game with the Bills, and then they played the Redskins, the Giants, and then the Jets again.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not playing very quality teams, to say the least.
No, they didn't get their first challenge till week 9 against the Ravens, and the wheels have fallen off since then. It's like you look at all their games since then, it's close games that they're winning. Like they barely beat the Eagles, the Cowboys, lost to the Texans and the Chiefs, like you said, and then barely won against the Bengals.
Well, and I think the other funny statistic of this is that they've lost to all the division leaders in the AFC. They lost to the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Texans.
Yeah.
So, that's not good going into the playoffs. We're talking week 17, week 16 Patriots. You expect them to be primed, ready to go.
Yeah. No questions asked, but
it'll be an interesting matchup, and the Bills got a lot to play for. Obviously, the Patriots would have to lose their last 2 games, which is highly unlikely. But throwing that wrinkle in there would help a lot for the Bills.
Definitely. Then we have 2 other Saturday games with the Texans and the And the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Texans, I believe, clinch their division if they win this game.
Yeah.
So it's a big game for them, and God only knows what Buccaneers team is going to show up. So,
I mean, guaranteed James Winston's throwing 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So that's the goodness.
God, dude, James Winston, man, like it sucks because I feel like we've been ragging on him all year. Like if you could get into a system where they could just control the turnovers.
Dude, but it's like he puts up so many yards.
He had like 300 yards passing in the first half last week.
He's gone like 3 games in a row throwing 400 yards.
Yeah.
And you're like, how are you letting this guy do that?
I know that like everybody's kind of banking on him not being their quarterback of the future, but I'm like,
it wouldn't be the
worst. You
worst.
can't get up this productivity though, like because he's the only thing keeping your offense alive.
Yeah.
Like that's it's not single-handedly, but they don't have a run game.
Mm-mm.
So he's being forced to do everything. So obviously, when you're doing everything, more interceptions are going to come from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Jameis Winston is the worst quarterback that Tampa Bay could have.
Yeah, I agree. Then you have the Rams and the 49ers. This is a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the 49ers need to win to get a leg up on the Seahawks.
Yep.
And hopefully they lose. But then also for the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams, they got slim playoff hopes, and they got to keep them alive with a victory.
Exactly.
They're kind of knocking on the door of the Vikings are the next team, and the Vikings have a matchup with
the Packers.
The Packers
on Sunday night.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be another huge game. So I mean, if they can win this week and then let it go into week 17, keep your season alive for as long as you can. I mean, but God, that freaking Rams, man. Like, it's depressing when you see a team, like, just 1 year, not even a full year removed from a Super Bowl, struggling the way that they are.
Yeah.
And they go out last week and get blown out by the Cowboys. I mean, they're struggling. And I think there's a lot of teams shitting their pants thinking that they hired the next Sean McVay.
Well, I mean, Sean McVay can only do so much. Mm-hmm. It's like Jared Goff is out there just, I don't even know if he sees the defense well. I don't know if he can read a defense.
Yeah, I think they picked the wrong guy.
Wasn't Jared Goff, like, before getting the NFL, never taken a snap under center?
He had not. You're correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like terrible.
Clearly, that should be red flag number 1.
No, absolutely. I think Jared Goff has potential, but I think his potential is based off of what Sean McVay can do for him. But also the fact that Todd Gurley's just not the same, and then he's only going to be as good as Gurley's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if Gurley's lost a step, then Goff's lost a couple.
Yeah. Then on to Sunday, you have the Saints and the Titans. The Saints are looking to advance to the number 1 seed in the NFC. But the Titans need to win too. They like, it's not like they're not playing for anything either. Yeah. So
I mean, the Titans are a dangerous team if they can get into the playoffs. They're on the outside looking in right now. They have the ability to kind of one up on the Steelers if they can if the Steelers can lose one of their next 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got that finale against the Texans again. And it's always tough when you play a team that.
Well, I mean, if they win this game and then they go back against the Texans, it's like that's the AFC South up for grabs right there.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting because, the Steelers play the Jets this week, and the Jets got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Adam Gase's fighting for his job, and the Steelers looked like crap last week.
Yeah. Then you have the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Cowboys should easily win this game and clinch. But that's the thing. Dak might not play, but even without Dak, they should win this game. Like, the Eagles have been atrocious this year.
I feel bad for the Eagles. I specifically feel bad for Carson Wentz because I feel like they've taken every weapon away from him at one point this year.
Mm-hmm.
From Jeffrey to Jackson to Howard. I mean, the only weapon that he's got left on the offense are Sproles.
Yeah.
A rookie, and Miles Sanders is the only weapon that they have offensively, as well as Ertz.
Yeah.
And you can only get so far with a tight end and a running back.
And it's like, I think the Eagles lost another wide receiver this week, like in practice. So now they're down to 1 wide receiver. 1 wide receiver, tight end, and a running back.
Yeah,
it's like
which is exactly why the Cowboys should walk away with this game.
Yeah.
But They're the Cowboys.
It's the Cowboys.
And this game is being played in Philadelphia, I believe.
Let's double check.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, if they can control the run game, if the Cowboys can control the run game, they can, at least keep the Eagles to, under 20 points, then I feel like the Cowboys can win this game.
This might not be a bad game to play Pollard either. I mean, he gets some good garbage time.
Yeah.
And he puts up points. I mean, he had 20-point week last week, so
Yeah, he did.
Well, I don't know. I'm confused again. Then, as you mentioned, the Packers and the Vikings. Packers could clinch the NFC North with this win. But the Vikings are, they're not a bad team
Great
either.
football
And
team.
they have a great defense.
Going to be without, Cook, probably.
Most likely. But the Packers' run defense, as we said, has been terrible. So it's not like that's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's still a weak point that they have.
Well, and the Packers are still potentially playing for a number 1 overall seed. They're trying to get back into that conversation right now. I think they're sitting at number 3 right now. No, they're number 2. So Seattle's 1, Green Bay's 2, New Orleans is 3, Dallas 4, obviously, San Francisco 5, Minnesota 6. So Green Bay's trying to get that first round bye. So winning this week would be a huge jump in the right direction for them. Gosh, if those games have to go through Green Bay and Seattle, that's tough.
Those are 2 stadiums you don't want to play.
All 3 of those teams, man. New Orleans, nobody wants to play there.
And they're all have that 12th man factor to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's see, what other games do we have? Is that all the games we have?
I think that's all the games we have.
I think so. We barely missed. We recorded last Tuesday. Later in the week, we had some exciting baseball news. Hot stove was real hot last week.
Dude, for real.
Yankees signed Garrett Cole to that 9-year, was it $245 million?
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And initially I wasn't excited about this signing, because we talked about it last week. This is a player that's going to play once every 5 days for you. But this is a guy that the Yankees wanted. They've been saving for it. They've had the reserves.
They drafted him.
They went after him.
So Garrett Cole, before he went to college instead, but they drafted him out of high school, and he chose to go to college. And then obviously he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates, I believe, is where he was drafted to. So it kind of came full circle for them. It's a guy that they've definitely had their eye on for a long time. So I was excited for that aspect of it, because there's a reason that they went after him, especially more than Strasburg.
And it was exciting because it's like he has that picture of him when he's like 9 years old with the Yankee sign, like fan today, fan tomorrow, fan forever. Yeah. And it's like, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good, kind of warm your heart signing. My only issue with this deal is that it seems non-essential based off of what's going on in their division, and the fact that, you kind of took him from the Astros, but he wasn't going to go anywhere else in the American League that was going to, who do the Yankees have to beat? They have to beat the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox are on a down year.
Yeah, and then they have to beat the Astros at some point. So, I mean, it felt like they didn't have to spend this money here on this one player in order for them to solidify themselves as the best team in baseball. I think it does.
It definitely does now.
I think it still makes them the best team in baseball, but I just don't think they needed him specifically.
Yeah. Overall, I'm going to be a fan of it just because he's, I don't know, in a lot of eyes, the best pitcher in baseball.
Well, their number 2 now would be Severino.
Yeah.
I still think they need another arm, though. Honestly, after seeing the Nationals and what that 3-headed monster of a rotation does, you need. I think they still need one more, and that's the only reason I was like, a Bumgarner and maybe trading for a Kluber might have been better than
a one lump sum to a Garrett Cole.
But I mean, I get it, and they've been saving up for this deal for forever, so they have the money to do it. It's not going to hurt them financially, so. Enjoy.
Yeah. the Yankees could also make a lot of other moves because they should all be healthy next year. You're gonna move DJ LeMahieu over to second base. Then you have like Gio Urshela and what's the other, Gleyber Torres there too. So it's like they can do a
stacked.
lot.
They're ready for a run.
Yeah, they're ready to go. Then kind of for me out of the blue happened very quickly. Anthony Rendon to the Angels.
This move surprised me.
Yeah.
I thought that he would go to a team that, maybe a little bit closer to where he was already living.
Maybe to a team that would make a run.
Yeah. This obviously makes the Angels better, but the American League is just dominated by the Astros and the Yankees right now. And if it's not the Yankees, it's the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously putting him and Mike Trout on the same team is going to make your infield better, with your outfield already being amazing. But this team's got a lot of bad contracts on there.
A lot of
bad contracts, like Albert Pujols,
Mike Trout. It's not
Upton.
bad.
I think Upton's got a shit ton of money on his deal as well.
They're not bad contracts. There's just a lot of money tied up in a core amount of players.
Well, and it was funny too because they were asking why was it the Angels over the Dodgers? And he's like, I don't know, that whole Hollywood lifestyle seems like it's a lot. And I was like, dog, you're down this street.
Yeah, you're right
from
there.
Them. Anaheim is not far from LA.
And it's not like they don't have the buzz as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now there's gonna be more lights on you because you pair up with Mike Trout. It's now this is another huge signing. And you have what's his name? The pitcher that goes both ways.
Shohei Ohtani.
Ohtani.
Yeah. No, they got some good players on their team. I still don't think they have enough. And I said, you kind of saw the blueprint that the Nationals put out. They have a lot of quality players on their team, and they spent a lot of money on that rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And if that rotation stays healthy, you win championships. The Angels still don't have any good pitching.
Yeah.
You can do what the hell you want on the offensive side of the ball, but you got to keep people from hitting 8 home runs a game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And that park turns out a lot of home runs. So
for sure.
You gotta be scoring runs if you want to win.
Other big deal, we had a Bumgarner signing with the Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought this was a weird move for the Diamondbacks.
I thought it was a weird move for Bumgarner. You'd think that of the teams in that same division, you'd go to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I was mad the Padres didn't kind of put their hat in the ring for it, but
I figured we'd get into the Padres in a minute because there was a few that I was a little kind of interested about.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought that it was a weird move for Bumgarner and the Diamondbacks. And then the other one was Kluber.
Yeah.
Kluber got traded to the Braves. No, the Tigers.
Yeah.
They're not the Rangers, I'm sorry. For almost nothing. Delano DeShields and a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
And I know that they have a lot of money tied up in some other things right now, but you got rid of Kluber and who was the other guy? They got rid of they traded him to the Reds.
I don't know, I can't think of his name.
Damn it, where's Brandon when you need him?
Right?
I can't remember what his name is. I said pitcher, not pitchers. Or
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Red.
Trevor Bauer.
There it is.
Sorry. Trevor Bauer. So the Indians have basically given up all their good arms, which means that they probably want to start rebuilding. There's already been talks about them trading Lindor.
That Lindor trade, it looks massive. The amount of pieces that they've put together in these mock trades.
Yeah. It's really funny, too, because Lindor is probably getting the most hype out of all of them for, the most back for. I was reading a few about like the Chris Bryant trades and potentially who's the other guy? I sent you the thing the other day. Mookie Betts.
Oh yeah,
those,
yeah.
Like none of those look like and I know that Mookie Betts is going to be a free agent, so like you're not going to yield a lot of, young prospects off of a free agent after this year. But yeah, the hauls for Lindor massive,
and like you said, I mean, out of the 3 that are up for grabs there, he's not like the one. He's not the main piece that I'd want to go after. It's like I'd rather try to get like Mookie Betts. I think he's an exceptional talent, but even Chris Bryant, like
I think Chris Bryant at this point is probably going to cost the least.
Yeah, I think he's going to cost the least too, but also he would fit into our system because he can play the outfield. So
speaking of the Padres,
okay,
I was very I feel like Preller has a lot of confidence in who he has in his starting rotation right now, almost to a fault.
Wait, what'd you say?
I feel like Preller has too much confidence in his his current pitching rotation.
Yeah.
Because for you to not go after and pay $17 million to Bumgarner or trade away a Margot and another top prospect for Kluber, it seems like you're content on who you have right now in your starting rotation. Obviously, they added Zach Davies, who's an incredible talent if he can stay healthy. You have Garrett Richards if he can stay healthy, but there's a lot of question marks in that rotation.
And not only that, but it's like other teams are going after these like short-term deal pitchers that aren't bad. Like the White Sox signed Gio Gonzalez, the Angels with what's his name? Teheran, his first name.
Yeah.
I can't. Is that Jose or something?
Yeah.
Whatever. Or Julio Teheran.
Yeah.
It's just like those are also guys that it's like that would bolster up our rotation.
Absolutely.
A good
Even
amount.
if they're ending up being like a 6th person in the rotation.
But that still gives like these guys that need limited innings.
They've gotten a lot of like minor league deals. I know they signed Kyle Bearclaw. Definitely some potential there. There's another guy that they just picked up yesterday, minor league deal as well.
Yeah.
So they're definitely trying to shear up the rotation, which I can understand, or the bullpen. But I mean, I don't look at our rotation and think, oh, this is elite. We're going to be able to dominate teams. And if you're picking up all these other offensive talents, you should probably get some better pitching, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. And especially if you want to make a run. And we keep going back to how the Nationals had like the blueprint to win with this incredible rotation with no like weaknesses in it. We don't have that right now.
You need a horse, man.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're planning on Gore coming up and being that this year, which I mean, he's going to be 21 years old. I don't think that he's going to be a massive piece of the rotation for a couple years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously talented, but waiting period. I mean, dude's still growing.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but it's like he does have a short history with injuries.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I mean, one of them was a blister, so I'll give him that one.
Oh yeah.
But no, it's funny because I keep seeing the Padres tied into all these conversations about Chris Bryant or Mookie Betts or even Francisco Lindor, and I'm like, Lindor makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I even read an article. Obviously, it's like very far fetched. Like, oh yeah, you can move Tatis to center field and have Lindor play shortstop. I'm like, what?
Like, there's no way that we're moving Tatis like anywhere.
No,
that's his position.
Yeah,
him and Machado get that left side of the diamond.
Yeah, no, it's
for good.
For the entirety of his contract.
Yeah,
do your thing out there.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like Mookie Betts or Chris Bryant. If you want to trade for one, by all means. But I still think you need to go out and find another pitching. Dwindling on the potential of getting a workhorse, but I mean, seem to have a lot of confidence who they have currently. And I mean, as of right now, it's sitting at Paddock, Richards, Davies, Lucchesi, and Lamet.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's not bad. Trust me. I mean, it's definitely not bad. But who's the horse?
Exactly.
Paddock, the guy that you had on an inning limit last year? Like, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think Paddock's a phenomenal talent, but I don't think that he's gonna like. I mean, unless he takes a huge step forward this year and turns into the next freaking Max Scherzer or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see it. And even so, it's like with the whole workhorse thing, it's like Danielson Lamet and Lucchesi both go, 4 innings on average.
Yeah.
It's like those aren't.
Yeah, and Lucchesi has a hard time finding a strike zone.
And your bullpen isn't.
Yeah, Lamette's like 1 year removed from Tommy John surgery. Mm-hmm. So is freaking Garrett Richards.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of injuries in that starting rotation, man.
A lot of, and Garrett Richards, I mean, he threw a couple games for us last season, but even still, those were known, like...
It didn't look good.
It didn't look good, and it was games that, like, didn't matter, so...
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I've liked a lot of the moves that they've made going back and looking at them, but I definitely think that there's a little bit of an oversight with our pitching.
I agree.
We'll see.
Yeah. I did not have a stat of the day this week, but I feel like I got to find one real quick. Hold on. Let's see. Go to this fun Instagram page.
What's it called?
WTF Stats.
Oh.
Wait, what? This is ridiculous. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons have only dropped 4 passes all season. Every other NFL team has dropped 10 or more. That's crazy.
That's insane.
The Dolphins have dropped the most passes with 26.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
4 all year?
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, those are sure-handed wide receivers right there.
That's like you're averaging like a quarter of one.
Yeah.
Every game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
That's
insane.
That's pretty impressive. Glad I found that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was fun. Dan Quinn still needs to get fired.
Yeah, for damn sure.
But all right, everybody, we are the Three Amigos and a podcast. This will be our last podcast before Christmas, and we only have one more before the year's over.
Yeah.
So Brandon better show up.
Brandon, we know you're not listening.
We know you don't listen, but it's fine. But all right, everybody, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, Hanukkah. What were you saying again? It was
so the 24th is Christmas Eve, the 23rd is the last day of Hanukkah, I believe. Let me double check this. Yeah, so Hanukkah is the 23rd, Christmas Eve is 24th, Christmas Day is 25th, and then Kwanzaa is the 26th.
Dang. What is Kwanzaa again?
That's a wonderful question.
I know it's some religion.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now.
How do you spell Kwanzaa? You spell Kwanzaa with a K.
Yeah.
And it is
a week-long annual celebration held in the United States and nations of Africa, diaspora, and the Americans to honor the African heritage and African American culture. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah.
Another fun fact for you.
Happy Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
And if we missed any other weird holidays, Merry happy to those as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody. We will be back next week.
Merry Christmas.
Have a good one.
Bye.